Welcome, welcome to this open discussion about Earth as your mother. So, diving into Earth medicine, the Earth element, and how we relate to that. So, we're going to be tying some things together here with your birth mother, food, the Earth, how the physical world, all of these relationships, and how they might be mirroring them. So, I hope this is helpful for you to understand yourself in a deeper way, to see some reflections that you may not have seen before. So always feel free to leave questions or comments wherever you are seeing this. And there'll be some contact information at the end because, of course, there's our general connection points. But yeah, if you're looking for some more personal insight, always feel free to reach out. My name is Sophia, and I work with the elements fire, air, earth, and water to connect people to the healer within themselves. So I find that by connecting with these simple four elements, that there is an awakening of like, oh, I can heal myself. I can be aware of self and shift energy in a way that I didn't think that I could. And so it brings that empowerment back to self by tapping into these very simple things. They're simple in a sense that we can relate to them easily, but also with that, they have so much depth and ancient wisdom. So if you start diving into them, a bit of a warning, you will be able to go on forever. The interconnectedness just becomes more vast, which we're going to be touching on today. So we have, if we look at Earth, so the earth element in the body is the root chakra. It's connected to our food, feeling grounded in our bodies. And then we can see that in the external world by, putting our feet on the earth, where our food comes from. And yeah, spending time literally, out in nature and spending time in the present moment. So those are the internal experiences of earth and the external expressions of earth that we experience. On another level, we have the concept of mother, or this feeling of being mothered. And of course, that comes firstly from our birth mother through gestation and physically giving birth. So we come through that root chakra, we come into the world, and your birth mother then holds a certain yeah, like our understanding of what it is to be mothered. Of course, not everyone is mothered by the person that carries them through gestation and gives birth to them, but take this as it fits, that your birth mother and your caring mother, that obviously gives a bit more of a dimension to your concept of mother. So it's just something to think about for yourself, that you might have a couple ideas in your head about what is mothering if you have different figures in the play there. So we do start out with this birth mother, and this is where we first learn as children, what it means to be safe, how it feels to go out and explore the world, and having that safe haven to come back to for emotional regulation. Really, like, they help us to emotionally regulate when things are amazing, when things are scary. The mother is there to help us feel like the world is a safe place to be. And if that's not the case, our mothers weren't present for whatever reason, or couldn't do that for us, do that with us, then we can grow up with a deep belief that the world is not safe. And so we start to rely on our minds to make sure, like, we're almost like on hyper alert, basically, about danger, because we didn't feel safe to explore as a child. And this is why this, like, curiosity and intelligence increases with children that have more safe environments when they're growing up, because like that curiosity is what we need to evolve and to see the interconnectedness between things. So if you are aware of this at at an adult time, it's interesting, because then you can start to connect more with the earth element and feel more safe, and your curiosity will then increase. And this can release a lot of tension, inner turmoil, and relieve you from a lot of inner stress by using the earth medicine that we're going to share more about here. So as we move through life, then we have an expansion time. So I feel if you're watching this video, you are most likely, self-aware and interested in personal expansion, personal development. So with introspection, we can view, the life that we perceive from our mother, our parents, our caregivers, and potentially want a different life. So if we want to be maybe more aware, maybe we want to view money differently, we want to make a lifestyle that's different, things like that. and going into different realms of spirituality and different realms of medicine and healing that they may not have gone into. And if you are becoming a mother or are a mother yourself, you may want to mother differently. You may have wanted to go through the birthing journey in a different way, et cetera, et cetera. So we go through this expansion where, we essentially want to learn more and be more than what our mother was to us. And that is natural, a natural stage in evolution. And with that, sometimes we can feel a bit like unheld in that journey if we don't have a good relationship with the earth element, because essentially what's happening is we're going into realms to which our mothers can no longer support us, so we can't call them and ask them about it, or spend time with them and discuss about the spiritual evolution that you're going through, because they've never experienced it. Or maybe they never experienced the way that you experience money or partnership, all these different aspects of life. If you evolve, then there's essentially a lack of support from that role, that caregiver role. And so in that instance, it's like, okay, where do we turn? Because if we don't have that support, we tend to hold everything in. We hold our thoughts in, we hold our trauma in, we hold our water, our emotions, we try and keep them still. There's a lack of circulation of energy because we're not feeling supported. And this is the major thing with the earth element. What it provides us with is a feeling of support. And when we feel supported, we can let go. We can release things that no longer serve us. We can circulate energy, which is how we remain healthy and vibrant and full of that beautiful life force energy. So we come to the third step here with grounding. So a potential for change can come from the earth. And this is where we start to shift in a spiritual evolution sense, where we view our mother as that support system, that safe place in the world. And then we start to transition into seeing the literal earth as a safe place and the earth as our mother. So the earth as our mother and the sun as our father, the sun being, that ball of fire that's constantly watching over us, providing us with like the energy we need to flourish. And then the earth comes from the bottom. The earth is like that support, that holding. If we fall, it will always, always catch us. There's food, there's clothes, this like mothering coming up, and this father kind of watching over. So when we start to evolve, this is a beautiful perception to have, because then we feel safe and we feel curious again, and we start to expand into our adulthood, and we can reach new heights that maybe our parents haven't thought about or are not interested in. We are allowed to continue our journey of evolution without feeling hindered or like heavy, feeling like we're going into this unknown space, we're going to be judged, we're not going to be supported. That can be sometimes the reasons why we stunt our growth, but nobody wins in that case, because then we start to feel a bit stuck. And that can come out as resentment towards those people. So in connecting with the earth medicine here, we are awakening to truth. The truth that the mother has always been our earth, because our mothers were mothered by the earth. So it's everyone's mother, and it is a beautiful evolutionary step because it interconnects us all and makes us all feel that we are all one. As a collective, holding this wound and observing it in this way, this can help us to reframe the perspective we have on the solutions. So if it's in the collective consciousness, taking ourselves out of it sometimes really helps. Well, it helps for me to just breathe in and see the expansiveness, and then you can start to see how everything is interconnected. So with the mother wound, it's like, how did mothers start to lose their power? And we can see that through the medical field, with herbal contraceptives and hospital births, women feeling disempowered through their menstruation contraceptive journey and then into their birthing journey, and then they become disempowered mothers. So that disrespect to mothers, and then mothers being perceived as weak, like we need to help them, we need to save the earth. I feel sometimes when I see that online, especially, I'm just like, the earth does not need to be saved. The earth is so powerful. It just needs people to get out of the way. It's basically it. And it's a choice. It's like, get out of the way, or I will move you out of the way with like a massive like ailment that will wipe you out like very quickly and easily. It's like, it's this sense of like, oh, we need to save this thing. This mother, this earth is so powerful. It can wipe us out easily. And it's almost like being generous and kind not to do that with all that we have done to it. And it's a little bit like a mother in that sense too, because if we are harsh on our literal like birth mothers, our carers, they're not just going to be like, okay, whatever, like goodbye. They're caring and they have patience, and they will like give you little warning shots and before they start to really amp up the reaction to your disrespect to them. So we can see that mirroring as a collective. We're like a collective of children with this mother, and we're disrespecting her, and then she's kind of starting to respond in larger and larger ways at this time because the disrespect is still present, in the way that we are not respecting our food, our water, like the things that we are receiving every day. And so this can bring into perspective, like, firstly, the importance of connecting with the earth element and how much we absolutely need to do it at this time. And secondly, that like if you're struggling with the relationship with your mother, you're struggling with the relationship with food or with being a physical human, you're not alone. This is something that is a collective thing that we're all working on. So starting to see it as that can feel empowering to make a difference and to feel like you are a part of like a larger whole. You're a part of this whole species that is trying to figure this out and that is working on evolving in this way. So I think it's important to take those larger perspectives, and then we come back in and we do a check-in with self, like I see this as a collective manifestation with the way that we can see mothers, with the way that the earth is being treated, and the disrespect in different realms. So, okay, how do I feel about that? So, coming back to yourself in the midst of all that and just doing a little check in. So, we have a check in here. How is your relationship with the material world? So, taking a deep breath into your body and noticing how you feel in being in your physical body. So there may be a lot of pain or discomfort in your body that might make it difficult to be there. Just noticing, yeah, what your relationship is with your body. Do you like the look of it? Do you like the feel of it? Other aspects of the material world are food, your home, your clothes, your furniture. All of these things are the material world. So some are like, are you a person that would really respect your belongings? Really nourish and like care for your clothes, like clean them well. Maybe like you don't have to buy clothes that often because you take care of them. Maybe you buy clothes that are like, in thrift stores and stuff. Um, and then food as well. Like, how is your relationship with cooking? Do you take time to cook? Where does your food come from? And do you waste food? Do you throw it away? Things like that. Just noticing for yourself, like looking at those few categories, your home space, your furniture, your clothes, your food, your physical body. This is your material world. So evaluating how you are respecting it, ways that you're respecting it, and ways that you may be disrespecting it. And this will all encompass how you feel with your earth connection. And so this is not a shame blame game or a shame game blame like exercise. It's more an awareness exercise. And I think it's very brave of people when they can be actually genuinely honest with themselves about this experience or how they are responding to the earth, because of course like no one's perfect. But once we're aware of like, okay, well, in two of those categories I feel like I'm disrespecting the earth, like maybe like I buy way too many clothes and have no idea how they're made or where they come from. And last week I did actually throw away like 3 meals because I wasn't conscious about eating and when I was eating, and I just kind of like didn't respect that food was a gift from the earth. That's okay. It's okay to recognize these things, and that's where the power is. And so, if you're noticing that you are feeling a disconnect from the earth element in that realm, or maybe you're feeling super connected with it, noticing the times in your life or what actions manifest this respect and this connection. It's interesting because that internal experience of earth, your connection with your body, is will mirror your connection with the physical earth. So if you're spending time outside with your shoes off, you're putting your feet on the earth, maybe you grow your own food. That's a great example. If you buy your food from the supermarket, and let's even go a step further. Let's say you're getting food because someone else is paying for it. Okay, so you're not even giving the physical money over for your food. So money is also an earth element thing because it's physical. We exchange it for physical things that we need. Um, and so it's becoming more airy, but to keep it in the basic form. So someone else is buying your food, you don't even have to pay money for it. How respectful are you of that food? Free food, like free food in a business lounge or something in an airport, versus someone who goes and gets seeds, plants the seeds, waters them, cares for them, and manifests like a harvest of corn. And then they put the corn in the kitchen. How like how much more do you feel that person's going to respect that corn? They're going to respect that corn. They're going to use that corn. If they can't use that corn, they're going to preserve it in some way. Like they are going to be like realizing how much energy it took to get that from seed to harvest. And therefore, this manifestation of respect, they're connected with the earth in that journey. And then there's this manifestation of respect versus free food. That's like complete, there's no exchange of earth energy. There's like that time aspect of it or anything like that. So if you're noticing that there is a lot of disrespect in these realms, this is how we can start to rectify it. It's spending time with like out in nature. It's, practicing growing some food. It's being conscious about where your clothes come from, things like that. And then looking at how you earn your money as well. So how you're receiving your material belongings, that comes from your money. So the energy of your money is going to affect how you feel about the material world. If you do not like your job, and that's the job and how you get money, the money is kind of has this energy to it where it's like, oh, I didn't like what I had to do to get this. And so you might notice that you waste that money away or it washes away very quickly. So yeah, this is a big check-in. Great to get out a journal and notice some of those things. And then we can come into the healing of that connection with the earth, with the other elements as well. So with water medicine, we can heal the earth, the root chakra, with our emotions. So this is such a beautiful big way that I guide people to release their emotions. And I notice, particularly for women, that there's a holding of their emotions if they don't have a trusting relationship with their mother, their birth mother, or their carer. They're more likely to retain water because they don't feel safe to surrender and let go because that lack of holding feeling. And so when we have this conversation of seeing the earth as their mother, then there's a practice that I guide people through of releasing that water into your roots and down out of your root chakra in meditation. And this cleanses out the emotional body and starts to energetically build that relationship between your sacral and your root chakra. So taking it into the physical body first, which is what I do with clients and with groups, because I feel that's always the place to start. It's great to go out in the garden and grow food. That's a wonderful thing to do. And with that, it can be really helpful to go into the physical body and start to do these practices. So when we trust the earth, we can release our water. And if we can see in this way that the earth, like it's like it so wants to take our trauma away, our pain away, those heavy emotions. It's like, no, give it to me. Like I can transmute it. I can like recycle it in this system. I can take it. So we can cry and we can like let that water go. And the earth will take it and will absorb it and we'll use it, we'll use it for the system. So it's just a different perspective, holding and releasing. Fire medicine supports us to have greater awareness of self. So when we understand, we have awareness of our physical bodies, we have awareness of our actions, our conscious awareness about what we're doing, what we're not doing, what's helpful, what's unhelpful. And so fire is our soul. And if we are living unconsciously, then we can be doing a lot of things that actually aren't in resonance with our soul, with our inner fire, and that dampens our inner fire. And so when we start to breathe into our fire and start to become more aware of it, we start to find more opportunities to live in alignment with our soul purpose and our soul longings. And the air medicine supports both the fire and the water and the earth by gifting us that expansion within the body. So bringing that life force into our physical being, increasing our sensitivity in our physical bodies. And when we increase our sensitivity in our physical bodies, we naturally want to eat better foods because we can sense more what's going on. We can relieve the emotions that have been built up because the air, the lungs are basically a filtration of the blood, and that's like basically filters the water of the body. So when we breathe and expand the breath, we are cleansing our water within our being. And then the air also feeds the fire. So if you imagine like air being blown onto a literal fire, like a campfire, then the fire grows and the flames, they dance and they're very beautiful. So it's the same internally in the body. When we expand the breath, we feed the home of the fire, which is the solar plexus stomach. We have good digestion and everything like that when we are breathing efficiently. And then we come down to the earth medicine. So, yeah, the earth medicine is there at the base of the body. It's present, it's nourishing, it grounds us and keeps us stable. And so these four all work together to bring us into alignment, to allow us to embody our higher self and to, yeah, to shift those energies that may be stagnant or causing us harm. So we'll finish up here with you are so cared for. I love talking about the earth medicine of just being cared for and shifting this perspective. Because in the world today, we can feel sometimes like, oh, I need more. I don't have enough. Like I asked the universe for money and I didn't get it, and I'm not cared for. I'm not being cared for by the earth. I feel unsupported. And this can lead to lower back pain. It can lead to a lot of stress and anxiety, panic attacks, things like that. So, starting to see more of the shadow sides of the elements. But we can shift our perspective, it is within our control. So, shifting your perspective to see that the support in all aspects of life is like all around you. And this will and can heal your connection with the earth. So if you start to observe that, the clothes that you're wearing right now were gifted to you from the earth. They came from plants, or they came from animals if it's leather. So they came from the earth, and the food that you ate today, the water that you drank, and the bed sheets that you have, the nature even around you, all of it is gifted from the earth. And this is something that is like a calling home of self in many ways, of feeling supported, because then when we start to see that we are gifted these things from the earth, we start to become more aware that, there's herbal medicine in your garden, and, there's food in your garden. Even if you're not intentionally growing food, there's different plants and things that we can eat. So we can get into this disconnected mindset that we have to buy everything and that everything has to come from a store, be exchanged for money. But when we start to change that perspective, like, oh, the earth's always supporting me, you might get some new ideas about what you could do with your garden to make it a nice place for you to regenerate and to sit. You might notice some, or feel like getting a fruit tree to get some fruit. And then it's just such a giving energy because, for example, if you do have a fruit tree, you're obviously going to get more fruit from that tree than you need. So then you start to give to other people. And this passes on the message that the earth is caring for us all and there's abundance. It brings us back into an abundance state. So then you share your lemons with the next door neighbor and, they got them for free and, they got gifted from the earth because you nourished the earth. And we start to pass more of this energy around and we move away from this consumerism, like food processing, like this rising away from the earth. We start to come back down to the earth. And it's very interesting to watch this happen when you start to maybe care for a bed of flowers, grow your own food, and come back into better relationship with your material world. This will mend and evolve your relationship with your mother, with the cares of your life, with people who are motherly to you. This could even be your partner who is a very like motherly person. You may feel like resistant to that, like push that away because you have a discomfort with that mothering energy. So you'll notice then that it's easier to take in mothering energy from other people when you have a better relationship with the physical earth element. And this is a big self-healing journey. There's so many ways to go about it and there's so many stages to it. So there's really no beginning, end, or even middle point. It's just how it is for you. So observe for yourself, see how it feels for you. And yeah, this awareness is the hardest part. As I mentioned before, the release, surrender what no longer serves you. So if you're feeling like you're holding on to a lot of trauma right now, you're holding on to a lot of pain or emotion, and you're just like, oh, I really want to surrender and let go of this stuff, the earth is there to support you. So imagining like your pain, your trauma is just like raining down on the earth, gets absorbed by the earth, and then gets used to manifest. Grass and trees and the whole ecosystem thrives from that release that you give it. So it's just that knowing that energy is in motion. And it can transmute, it can change. There's no reason for you to need to hold on to it because you are supported and you are cared for, and the earth is here to show that to you. And that's why I personally bring it back into the body with clients, and that's the place that we start with the conversation, because that's where we actually get the experience. We come out of the mind, of understanding these concepts and things. We come into the embodied experience of like, okay, well, if I move in meditation that energy out of my body through my root chakra, how do I feel? Is it possible for me? And then we start to change our relationship in our external world after we've gone and released internally. So this can look different for everyone. Another way is to flow right. So taking that energy that you have within, physically taking a pen and a page and earthing it, writing it down on paper. So you're circulating the energy, you're releasing it out, you're getting it out. So those are some suggestions for releasing. And yeah, you can do it because you are supported and you are cared for. Thank you so much for taking the time to dive into earth medicine. I hope this was helpful for you. If you have any questions, you can send them on to heal@elementalempressmedicine.com. Got a new Instagram going, that's Elemental Empress Medicine, and the webpage linked there has a great blog on it that goes into each of the elements. So if you're like, oh, I'm interested more in learning more about how this elemental medicine works, that blog is broken up into the elements. You can see, what goes in where, maybe see where some of your strengths are and balances are. And yeah, that's a nice resource for you there. Sending you so much love, and have a wonderful rest of your day or evening.